With a 13-2 vote, it now goes to Democratic Mayor Jim Kenney. The measure would ban ski masks in public places like schools, recreation centers, parks, city-owned buildings, and on public transportation. It would impose a $250 fine against anyone who violates it. Keith Peters reporting.
One of these three teams will not make the college football playoff when the draw is announced later on today: Alabama, Florida State, and Texas. And whichever is left out will have every right to be angry. And in the case of two, their absence in the CFP would be unprecedented. Of course, we're going to get more playoff teams next year, so hang in there. This is SRN News.
Portions of this hour have been pre-recorded for broadcast at this time.
Hey, it's Tim Cooper with Health Plan Network. The open enrollment for the 2024 Affordable Care Act Marketplace plans is ongoing now. The new plans have even higher deductibles and even higher monthly premiums. Folks, there is another option. My Freedom of Choice plan puts most of your coverage right up front, where you only meet a deductible if you go into a hospital. You can pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there's no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call me, Tim Cooper, at 813-212-2580, 813-212-2580, or go to healthplannetwork.net. That's healthplannetwork.net. And we can custom design a plan that's managed by you, not the government.
Thank you for making my dream a reality and publishing my very first book.
Karen Notner is author of Is Jesus Your Pearl?
You encouraged me, you laughed with me, and you held my hand through the entire process.
Karen's publisher is Zulon Press. Do you dream about publishing? Make the dream real with America's fastest growing Christian book publisher. Your free publishing guide is waiting at christianpublishing.com.
Thank you so much to all the wonderful professionals at Zulon Press.
Visit Zulon Press at christianpublishing.com.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour, only on AM 860, The Answer.
A dense fog advisory is in effect till 9 a.m. this morning. Mostly cloudy and humid today, high 81. Cloudy tonight, low 71. And mostly cloudy tomorrow, high on Monday, 78. Less humid Tuesday, cloudy in the morning, then sun through high clouds with a high of 71. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Holly Holdren for AM 860, The Answer.
The financial content, including all financial data, editorial content, and advertising provided on this program, is intended for personal use and entertainment and does not constitute investment advice. Financial content that appears on this station does not mean this station endorses such content. In addition, this station makes no representation that financial information is accurate, complete, or timely. This station does not accept any liability for any investment decisions made on the basis of this information. It is strongly recommended you obtain professional advice before proceeding with any investment.
Welcome to the Prosperity Hour. Join host Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group as they guide you on your path to prosperity in retirement and life. Learn how to safely protect your money from market risk, creating your own pension-like income with their safe money strategies and implementing their tax-free plans. Call Greg or the team at 864-989-0176 or email Greg at mymoneyissafe.com. Visit mymoneyissafe.com and start now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Prosperity Hour. And we are here with you every weekend, and just so enjoyed to be with you. And we're throughout a bunch of stations right now. I want to say hello to Vicky, who's tuned in and is watching our show right now, and love people to give us thumbs up and share information. And you know, for our radio listeners in Sarasota, I hope everybody has had a wonderful Thanksgiving, since this is going to air the weekend after Thanksgiving. So I just want everybody to, enjoy the show. And the title of the show today is, How Long Can the Government Keep Kicking the Can Down the Road? That's right. How long can they keep doing that? Because you're seeing the market do some unusual things. And if you wonder if it's manipulated, I believe it is. I think there's an opportunity. Now, many of you may or may not remember that about 6 months ago, I called it and said there would be a surge I felt there would be a surge. Now, I thought the government was going to lower the interest rates. I didn't realize that by them saying they're not going to raise the interest rates, it would have the same short-term effect. So now all of a sudden you're seeing a market that's been basically slightly in the negative get a gain. And isn't it interesting? This is happening right, around an election or preparing for an election, but it's just a coincidence. So, I'm not implying anything by that. So folks, today, we did a show several weeks ago where we talked about this is the greatest safe money opportunity that I've ever seen. And it really is, because you can lock in your gains that you make. So this is actually a perfect time to take some of your funds and put it in our safe money strategy. I believe that that's crucial. And this is where you can put it into an account that could add anywhere from 25 to 45% into your retirement accounts. So if you believe that's important, and I believe it is, then you need to consider this and take advantage of this upsurge. And we are actually locking in some gains for our clients because this upsurge is a possibility, that you can take advantage of. So folks, I want you to stay tuned, enjoy the show. We're going to talk about how long can the government keep kicking the can down the road. Now, by the way, you can reach us at 1-800-440-0434. That's 1-800-440-0434. Or you can go to mymoneyissafe.com. You can go to mymoneyissafe.com. So, folks, enjoy the show today. Stay tuned. Give us a call. You can also email us at info@mymoneyissafe.com. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group. And you see all of this quantitative easing that gets added to our economy. They don't even call it that anymore. It's just free money that we keep loaning ourselves. Let me tell you something, folks. If you want to protect your retirement accounts, if you want to make sure that you have enough money to live off of for the rest of your life and your spouse's life, call us at 1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com and look up pension-like income. Patty, good morning today. Welcome to the show. My voice is a little bit under the weather, as I was for the last few days, but thank God I'm bouncing back. I know you're bouncing back.
We are bouncing back, and I'm glad you're feeling better. You haven't felt good for more than a few days.
Yeah, it happens. It seems to happen once a year. I'm very fortunate. I stay pretty healthy.
You do.
It's been a crazy year. I've had two major surgeries, a hip reconditioned hip, which is a redo of a hip replacement. And I want to also say hello to Angelo, our former producer with WGTK with Salem. Angelo, we miss you. Joe is taking good care of us down in Florida. And so you guys are always a good team. Please call me when you get a chance, Angelo. So Patty, we talk about that the government's kicking the can down the road. It is amazing. Do you know that the media does not use the term quantitative easing anymore?
Well, of course not. I mean, you look it up, and I remember how many you said that they've done, but they will admit to 3 that they've actually done. So
it's
now
more like 13.
Exactly. So if you fact check us, you will not find the number that we give you because they're not admitting up to it.
Isn't that crazy?
Who would have thought that they would not own up,
Yeah. Oh, so true.
But you're absolutely right. Closer to 13 or 14 quantitative easings that they do, where they actually add money to the system to keep it going.
Well, do you know how much corporations like this? Because it's called free money, but it's not free. You know whose money it is?
It's ours.
It's ours. It's our money. It is our money. But again, it's a system where we loan money. Now, think about this. We loan money to the government, right? And for our benevolence, they charge us interest on the money we loan them. I mean, think about that. Am I stating that truly?
You are stating it truly.
Right?
Right.
Because we loan them the money. They charge us the interest. Oh, not only do we have to pay interest, we got to pay the money back that they borrowed from us. And it doesn't come back to us directly. but it's for our best interest.
Of course it is, because we don't know better.
It is crazy.
It's the same way as you get a tax refund at the end of the year sometimes. They've got us to where we thank them for that.
I know. We thank them for getting our own money back. Sounds like the banking system.
Well, we hope that's the banking system.
Well, yeah, or it's some type of system, that's for sure.
So the kicking the can game that you're saying.
Yes. Well, okay, so let's look at this. They keep infusing capital into the market. The market responds with a rumor of the interest rates not going up because Jerome Powell decided not to use, he puts a veiled threat now. I mean, it just all looks manipulated to me. And I think there's a lot of danger because I believe that while this upsurge is happening, this is the perfect time. See, timing the market is dangerous, right? Because you never know where the top is or the bottom. So you guess and you go, okay, this is where I feel it is. And so maybe you get it. Maybe you get it just right. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy right now because you think you get it just right and then you miss it. So it's important to understand how that works. So anyway, they're kicking the can down the road because they keep just pumping money into the economy, more debt. And where's it going to end?
So what you're saying is they're postponing the inevitable.
Absolutely. They are postponing the inevitable. And so I am so concerned that when we are all unprepared, it's going to, what was it? Put the Kraken on or whatever that, we heard. So I really think that that's a problem that exists with what's going on and there's danger. So again, not to be trying to cause fear. I'm just saying, look at the facts, look and see what's going on with the money. That's crucial.
And are there things that we can do?
Oh, absolutely. There are things that we can do because the reality, our safe money strategy, which is step one of the prosperity plan, can be a life or death difference for people.
Exactly.
I mean, it really can be. And you know what, Patty? We sleep well at night knowing that our clients are safe. Are they going to get totally rich from this? No. But they could get, again, when you look at the numbers with the higher interest rates, I think we ran a report for someone. I think they put 500,000 into 401k. If they lived to 90 years old with an increasing income historical return, they'd be at around $3 or $4 million of income that they would have taken. And they don't have to spend it all. They can reinvest it. So that is pretty good.
Not too shabby.
And do you know what's interesting, Patty? The money runs out in the market around the same time as it runs with us if you look at historicals, but the income stops in the market. The income continues as long as one of the two spouses are alive.
And that is a beauty that people ask the difference. Well, what's the difference in if I just take money out of my account and lifetime income? I mean, is it not the same thing?
It's not the same thing. Listen, we are out of time, folks. Stay tuned. Go to mymoneyissafe.com, 1-800-440-0434. Thank you. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group. And if you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do with my money right now? The market's up, everything's hunky-dory, but the government keeps kicking the can down the road. Folks, don't make the mistake of trying to time the market. That's when you get burned. Take advantage of the gains, sell high, buy low, and look where you can add 25 to 45% in your money. Call us at 800-440-0434 or go to mymoneyissafe.com.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-233-4295. 800-233-4295. 800-233-4295. That's 800-233-4295.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're searching for the truth. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something actually worth watching. Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, with in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds like Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Find truth. Watch 24/7 on snc.tv and on Local Now, Channel 525.
Every 2 minutes, a child becomes a victim of sex trafficking in the U.S. It's happening right now. Don't change the channel. Don't cover your kids' ears, no matter how much you want to ignore it. Child trafficking is real. In fact, it's happening in your town. And you know what our greatest weapon against child trafficking is? It's our children. It's time to act with PACT. That's Partners Against Child Trafficking. PACT works to teach students to identify the warning signs of child trafficking so they can help other vulnerable kids around them. PACT student ambassadors receive in-depth training on the issue and design a project to raise awareness, reduce victimization, and disrupt demand. Any student around the world can sign up for PACT's online training program and learn how to stop child trafficking. Go to pact.city to sign up for the 1-hour course today. With PACT, we declare not one more victim.
You fed me lavender and honey from an antique spoon your grandmother gave you one side of you. You came to gaze and gave it to your soon-to-be daughter. Soon you'll be somebody's father. Somebody's father.
Welcome back, folks. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and the song that you heard is a song written by my daughter Annie Ellie called "Lavender Honey." It's the closest thing to a country song she's done. It's really a good song. I've actually had people request, and if you actually go to her website at annieellie.com, actually the best place to pick up all of her current music is through SoundCloud. So if you go to Annie Ellie, ANNIE at soundcloud.com, that's a great place to find it. So Patty, we talked about kicking the can down the road, clearly. And it's crazy when you see what's going on, with the amount of infusion of capital since 2008. The government has just figured out that they can keep funding our stock market in essence. And I don't know did you see the guy with the Capitol, the January 6th? I saw an interview. I think I sent it to you. He's the guy that was wearing the shaman today. They call him the MAGA shaman.
Right.
And he's a libertarian, by the way. He's not even a Republican. And he's out of jail. And I was listening to him. Do you know he's running for Congress in California?
Wow. No, I did not know that.
The guy is no dummy. He's not crazy. Obviously, his outfit looked crazy. But he makes a lot of sense. And he was talking how he wants to fight insider trading for Congress. Isn't that an interesting thought?
You mean there's insider trading? And they haven't been
That sounds
caught.
like a conspiracy to me, Patty.
Yeah, talk about conspiracy theory.
It's not like you can make, here's what I'd like to know. How can I make $100,000 a year and then build a net worth in 40 years of $60 million? Because I never leave office. I always get reelected. I'm an incumbent and I'm worth $60 million. There's no way that's insider trading.
No, not at all. There's nothing suspicious about those numbers.
And could we do that? I don't know. Not according to the way I understand the rules.
That's not part of the safe money plan.
It's no, that's the legacy plan.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you can't spend it all in your lifetime.
Well.
I mean, somebody could, but
Yeah, well.
goodness gracious.
Mm.
So, this is the problem with what's happening with this is there's no corruption and money just keeps getting printed. And as long as money's printed, all of the big companies are happy. Both parties are happy. And yet you can't go into some cities because there's nobody there to protect you. So did you realize that Portland just recently started refunding the police because they realized that the murders had gone up so much?
No.
I mean, where did common sense go? Do you think? I think common sense, the C word that everybody was worried about in 2020 and 2021, it needs to be replaced with common sense. And common sense goes a long way.
It does, but it's out the window because if they don't print money anymore, and what if they do go to digital?
Shit. What if?
I mean,
we're 2/3 of the way digital right now. And no one's noticing right now.
How are they doing that?
How are they doing? Well, let me give you an example. Remember what I remember on one of the shows, I thought, what's going to be difficult with going with digital? It'll be third world countries, right?
Right.
Well, a certain founder of a famous computer company.
Okay. Can't imagine who that
started,
is.
I think it was called Doors and Hinges or something like that.
Yeah.
Doors
The
and
Golden
Hinges
Gate Bridge.
10 and
Yeah.
8. And 7. I like Doors and Hinges 7. Okay. So a little tongue in cheek here. He set up a eye scan for third world countries, and they're giving perks to the people. And these eye scans will get them hooked up to the digital system.
Wow.
Yeah, that's happening. That's happening. This is happening world over.
And then you commend him for helping third world countries.
You what?
You commend him for helping.
Oh, yes.
third
Yes. He's
countries.
helping the third world countries. And boy, we could do a whole show on this, but
okay. So anyway,
type of show.
it just makes you think that, if they're doing it now by printing money, what would they do with that? That's just, like you said, that's a whole nother show, but that's just another reason to do it.
Well, if they go digital, and they probably are going to do the pretext of doing it through gold, that's going to be good. I had a client yesterday that I met with that we talked about a gold strategy. And I told him I'm not a big fan of gold strategies with IRAs. And I was looking, I own one gold IRA. The rest are SEPs from my business account. And with the IRA, I'm shocked. The gain is not great, but I'm using it as a hedge account, right?
Right.
So think about it. A IRA grows deferred. So if you got a vehicle that grows the account, you're going to do fine. But the problem that's going on, Patty, is that the IRAs in gold, you don't physically own them.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
And I'm not a big fan of that. I like to own it, see it, have it in my hands. So the problem what's going on is when digital is happening before our eyes, they don't move $2 billion from one bank to another. It's a digital account. It's a credit and a debit. Okay, think about it from an accounting standpoint. And accounting is not my favorite subject, but I understand it. And the reason is, but you know what it is very good about accounting? It shows what's called a balance sheet. That balance sheet tells the truth. And I would love to see, why don't we audit the Dow Jones and get a balance sheet, or get a balance sheet of our government, and let's see how the numbers add up. Boy, that would be a novel thought. Maybe I need to run for office, Patty, and tell them we need to do a balance sheet.
I think that would be great. I think I could feel the shivers of the people as you started to do it, because although numbers, the bad thing about it is some people can make numbers say whatever they want them to say.
Well, yeah, it's called cooking the books. There was a company known as Enron that cooked the books.
Exactly.
A few other ones too. You can if you can manipulate the numbers, but if it's done in an auditing situation, right, that is transparent. So
I mean,
think about it. What if
would
the
we not
government
love to see that?
What if we could look at the balance sheet of the government on a monthly basis? And we need to, I don't know, can you, if you get a chance, check it out and see if we could actually do that. Maybe that's what we need to start doing. Hold them accountable.
Right.
Because when we're talking about kicking the can down the road, I believe that you're seeing the market propped up just by a rumor of the interest rates not rising. I think people are like, you could say sheeple, we're all sheeple or we're all lemmings, but the fact of the matter is we need to figure out, okay, what is going to go with the market? In other words, how is my money protected? And so it's incredible. I saw a notice. Well, I'm not even going to bring it up right now, but I'm aware of a person right now who made real good safe money returns, and she jumped right back in the market. Right back in the market, just like our 80-year-old client. Okay. He's probably really happy now because, he's had total of 3 months of gains in the last 12 months. And everything was at a loss right now. So the problem with kicking the can down the road, at some point, the thing's going to blow up. So the question is when. So we don't want your accounts to be blown up. So perfect time for an in-service rollover, perfect time to reassess and protect your money, to be there, create a tax-free income, to create your prosperity plan. So I really believe this is an opportune time for people to go into radical safety right now.
Absolutely. For you, the public, to take control of your money and of your retirement.
Yes.
With the plans that we have that will add the funds to your account, will build the pension-like income. And if you think taxes are going to go down, then you don't need to listen to this next part. Help build a tax-free income base for yourself.
We're looking at an account for a client. He just moved his 401k, or actually, yes, 401k IRA to us, but he's got an inherited account, and he's got to pay the taxes on the inherited account within 7 or 8 years. So we said, look, you got to pay tax on it. So he can't convert it to a Roth because it's a distribution. But what he can do is he's going to put it into a tax-free account. And he'll be able to put all of that money into a tax-free account and take an account that's worth $2 million and probably be able to create $4 million with that same account and have tax-free income that he can start drawing. And I think he's 52. So that means at 60, honestly, at 60, 63, he can retire with tax-free money and leave legacy for his family, which is all important to him. So I told him, I said, you're blessed. You've got a great opportunity. And he's done well on his own. But, he's being a great steward of his inheritance. But the biggest mistake people make, they'll take that inherited account, they'll try to grow it into a taxable account.
And talk about a snowball. Lord.
Tax snowball. That's correct. Listen, while the clock's ticking quick, folks, you can reach us at 1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com. You can also email us at info@mymoneyissafe.com. We've got a book that we're offering, which is the new rules for retirement, or the no compromise retirement plan. I did the forward on it. We've got another book that's going to be coming out soon. And then the main book, the prosperity plans, stay tuned. We're getting it out first quarter, and we want to help you any way we can. Patty, we got 20 seconds. Any closing comments on what we've said so far?
Just heed what we say, be aware of what is going on, and know that you are not due, that we can help you, that we can add money, and your future can be secure with the plans that we have.
Perfect. Folks, stay tuned. Go to mymoneyissafe.com, 1-800-440-0434. We'll be right back. Attention retirees. This is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group. And did you know that taxes are going up? When are they going up? They're going up in 2026 when the Trump tax cut sunset. So folks, take advantage of the strategies of using taxes to your advantage. Let me show you a tax-free strategy whose history is 6 to 8%. Call us 1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com.
AM 860, The Answer. Listen on our website, theanswertampa.com, 93.7 FM, W229DJ Dunedin, by downloading the Answer Tampa app or on TuneIn or Odyssey. Here's the latest from the Answer News Center.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. 3 senior members of a super PAC backing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis have left the group. It's the latest sign of instability within the 2024 hopefuls political operation, just 6 weeks before the Iowa Republican caucuses. Kristen Davidson parted ways Saturday with Never Back Down just after she took over leading the group following the departure of CEO Chris Jankowski less than 2 weeks ago. Also leaving Saturday were Communications Director Aaron Perrin and Director of Operations Matt Palmisano. DeSantis trails President Trump by an immense margin. Officials in the Philippines blame foreign terrorists, as they say it, for a bomb blast that killed 4 people, wounded dozens others this weekend. They were Catholic worshippers in the south. The whole explosion sparked a security alarm as far as the capital of Manila. Nothing else happened there. This is SRN News.
Because no matter what, no matter where, you need the truth. And specifically, if you're listening from Newport Richey to St. Petersburg or from Tampa to the coast, you can get The Answer on FM 93.7, always on AM 860, online at theanswertampa.com, and depending on where you are, on FM 93.7. The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour, only on AM 860, The Answer.
A dense fog advisory is in effect till 9 a.m. this morning. Mostly cloudy and humid today, high 81. Cloudy tonight, low 71. And mostly cloudy tomorrow, high on Monday, 78. Less humid Tuesday, cloudy in the morning, then sun through high clouds with a high of 71. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Holly Holdren for AM 860, The Answer.
Come bring me the songs, comfort me through all this madness. Jesus, I know with you I'm born again. Resting safe within your arms. I know that Jesus, I know with you I'm in your arms, I know I'll find this. Jesus, I know you. I know you.
Welcome back, listeners. This is Greg Elliott, the Prosperity Group, and the song that you heard is a song called "With You I'm Born Again," and that's a song that my late wife Marie and I recorded back in 1987. We first sung it together in 1983, shortly after it was made famous by Billy Preston and Sarita. And so today is not a good voice day. I would not sing. I would sound like a frog. In fact, we should get our producer to play Leon Redbone, "I Ain't Got No Home." I could probably sing it. Ain't got no home. So, yeah, that was, I didn't know this, but he passed away. I don't know. I didn't even realize he passed away. He was kind of like a Bob Dylan folk singer, So it's just very strange. Some of this stuff happens and things that have happened in life. Okay, Patty, we're talking about kicking the can down the road. They keep kicking the can down the road. Would you do me a favor? Would you describe from your perspective, I coined the phrase pension-like income. It's funny, I've had a few competitors use that same term.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, you noticed that too. That's okay. That's flattery. But we,
You're looking good, Doc.
you know, you come out of the brokerage world, you come into our world, and you see the opportunity that the client can take his 401k and IRA and literally create what's very similar to almost like a personalized pension program.
Except it's even better because majority of the pensions that are out there, when you and if you do joint and it goes to your spouse when you pass, then when the spouse passes, everything stops.
Right, right, exactly.
With the pension like income that we create, there's a possibility that it grows great enough to
Morning,
where
Doc. You
funds are
listening?
still available
Guess not.
for
You just
your,
left.
for your heirs,
Right.
or the income grows so that you create a legacy for them in other ways because it's increasing. If you do have a pension income from a true pension income, 99, I haven't seen, have you ever seen one that's increasing?
No.
I haven't seen an increasing one. I've just seen flat.
Actually, I have seen one. We have a client and her pension is from California.
Mhm.
By the way, the county that she's at through the school is going broke, but she gets a cost of living increase
Okay.
occasionally.
Okay.
That's the closest.
But not great enough to where you
No.
could leave a legacy for someone.
No, like our client that started at $36,000 in 4 years, he's at $48,000. That beats any cost of living.
Totally.
increase. Yeah.
And in the brokerage world, the only way to do something like that would to be, you know, you would ladder it within stocks, bonds, mutual funds, preferred stocks that would give you a
Correct.
et cetera. And none of that is guaranteed.
None of it's guaranteed. You know, in 2008, do you realize how many stocks stopped paying dividends?
Wow. Yeah.
There was a ton of them that stopped paying dividends.
And that's one thing I don't think people understand. They're like, well, I'm getting this great dividend. You know, why would I not want to do this? I'm like, well, you know, it's not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to continue that dividend. You're not, it could stop.
I spoke to a government official, Patty, and you're right in what you're saying, because I spoke to the government official and he was telling me that he believes we're on the verge of a commercial real estate crash. Okay. Another gentleman that I spoke with, he said, Greg, bonds, he says the market is ruled by bonds. The amount of volume from bonds. I mean, you look at the insurance company and invest in bonds. Everything's bonds, right? So who's the guy? I forgot the guy who's called the bond king.
Yeah.
It's not the Dow, but the Dow's more like a slot machine. And so with the bond rates, what happens with the bond rates right now, bonds are pretty good in terms of returns because interest rates have gone up. But guess what they're going to do? When they drop the interest rates, they're going to have to drop the interest rates. The insanity's got to stop. So let's say President Trump gets back in 2024. You know he's going to push because he loves low interest rates. Do you know what's going to happen to all those bonds? They're going to get called.
Absolutely.
Whereas on our strategy, they don't get called. And do you realize that our insurance strategy has outperformed bonds for the last 36 years?
And it's outperformed the market too.
Outperformed the market on a buy and hold basis.
Mm-hmm.
So, the investments I have in the market personally, the only one I'm looking for the next Microsoft, right? Those are the ones that skyrocket. So I have to talk to you about the portfolio that I've done for myself right here. And when we start offering that to our clients next year, I'm excited about some of these strategies, but some of these seasonal strategies and different things like that, it's exciting to me because we'll be able to help there. But you still have to have that safe money foundation. That's crucial. And that's what's lacking so much with so many of the accounts is they don't have a safe money. So foundation. So you think step number one in the prosperity plan is the safe money plan. Step number two is the income plan. And by the way, folks, stay tuned for our Social Security seminars are going to be starting up next year. So very, very important to do that. So very crucial there. So Patty, You describe pension-like income. Now, what about inflation-friendly increasing income?
And that's what I mentioned. And I asked how many are increasing.
Correct.
Because you had asked about the increasing pension-like income.
Right.
And we do offer that, which is wonderful because it does not only keeps up with inflation, but has the potential to beats inflation.
Yeah, it really does.
And can grow to where what we talked about, leaving legacy on top of everything.
Well, Patty, one of the things we need to do today is look at our lock-in opportunities for our clients right now. There's some great lock-in opportunities.
We have been doing that the past few weeks. So
yeah, but I'm saying this.
Oh, absolutely.
Week, there's an opportunity where some of these clients can lock in some gains that have taken place. It's really exciting. They have the ability to do that. And I think that's a huge opportunity.
It is. And also this one company that we're talking about, you can tell us a high. We can sit down at your, when we do the policy delivery, go over the structures, go over the indexes, and we can do set highs and lows of where it will lock that in for you.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's a wonderful thing. And not all accounts can do this, but we do have accounts that will.
No, absolutely. It's so true. Folks, you can reach us at 1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com. And again, I want to share an exciting opportunity with you right now. We've got accounts that can add 25 to 45% in your accounts. 25 to 45% in your accounts. That's big. This is an opportunity. And I don't like to get too sales pitchy, but I don't know how much longer this is going to happen. I don't know how much longer it's going to happen. So it's crucial to take advantage of the strategies that are available. It really is. Patty, you look at this right now when you're talking about, when's the market going to make 25%? When's it going to make 40% anytime soon on a consistent basis? You know what I'm saying?
And when are you going to be smart enough not to be so greedy that you don't watch it go back down?
Right, exactly.
Because we're like, oh my gosh, it made 25%. Let's hold on. It goes down 30%. Oh my gosh, I lost 5%.
So true.
That's the danger with that one.
Yeah, no, that's very true. So folks, listen, let us help you. Call us 1-800-440-0434. Go to mymoneyissafe.com. And we'll be glad to help you. And folks, sorry for my voice. I've had laryngitis all week, and then it's hard to be in the business that I'm in and not use your mouth. And I always tell people that I don't have a problem not running my mouth. It seems to be running all the time. And when I try to shut it, I couldn't even shut it this week. So
no, and the time that he can't talk is when he needs to the most. But that's the way it is.
Yes, that's the way it works. And I've got my little dog in here, Macy, and she's over here, and she's trying to help do the radio show. But folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh, you're looking good now, Doctor.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Greg Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and you realize the government is kicking the can down the road. If you want to learn how to create a pension-like income or create an inflation-friendly increasing income, then you need to give us a call. And let us show you a tax-free strategy that could.
I can see you. Can you hear me?
Strategies. Call us at 1-800-440-0434. And we'll meet with you in Sarasota, Bradenton. So glad to talk to you.
Learn how thousands of smart homeowners are investing about $1 to avoid expensive home repair bills. John, a former non-customer, said, "My air conditioner broke and I had to spend $1,900 to fix it." Jeff, a customer, wrote, "My air conditioner broke and I got a new one at no out-of-pocket cost." Mary, a former non-customer, wrote, "My heating system stopped running. I had to spend $3,000 to get a new one." Lisa, a customer, wrote, "My heater stopped working. I got it fixed at no out-of-pocket cost." For about $1 a day, you can have all the major appliances and systems in your home guaranteed fixed or replaced with HSC's home warranty coverage. Call now, and the first month is free. If the lines are busy, please call back. 800-814-5615. 800-814-5615. That's 800-814-5615. 800-814-5615.
Ain't got no home. I know baby wrong. Ain't got no home. I know face wrong. I'm a lonely boy. I ain't got a home. I got a voice.
Well, Patty, the song that we heard, we're going to start it, the homeless segment, and then our producer reminded us that Rush Limbaugh used to do that. Ain't got no home, and I get to give my good basso voice to do that.
And you do have a good one now, especially.
Yeah, especially today.
And Rush, that's not a bad person to follow, is it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, look, he was a prolific conservative apologist like Dennis Prager, and there won't be another one most likely with that, with that voice that held the government accountable. I remember when I started listening to him was around when Bill Clinton was president. And after Bill Clinton lost the election, everybody was predicting he'd be done, and he wasn't done.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't done. When we're talking about homeless right now, there are a lot of people that their money is homeless. And what I mean by that, they don't manage their money. They're in a 401k managing it themselves. How many people, and I want you to think about a percentage, how many people that we meet with on a regular basis tell us they don't even like to look at their statements because of the stress?
I would say at least 75%.
How can you? I don't get it. I don't get it.
I know.
I mean, this is the danger about what I'm concerned about. People are desensitized to a 2,000 point swing in the Dow, 1,200 point swing.
I think a lot of it is when they started it was when they were young.
Morning, Doc. How you doing today?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Got a little tummy ache this morning. Had some tacos last night, so I'll do it.
Uh-oh. Well, don't do anything. Don't pass gas or anything, because we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube.
All right, I'll hold it in as long as I can, but if I explode, it's on your head.
Right down the old airwaves.
What are we talking about today besides heart rhythms, it look like?
Well, and I was going to finish up on the Medicare, the Medigap plans, because I don't think I really did as good a job on that as I should have. I wanted to say a few more things, not a whole lot, but there is a website you can go to that's called medicare.gov/Medigap supplemental plans. And you can actually go through and pick out the plans based on your eligibility, your age, your sex, whether you smoke or not, and the cost. But I think that more importantly for people is that they, if they're struggling, if they're not computer savvy or able to do this on their own, as many of us are as we get older, that they get an insurance agent, a good one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. It's so complicated. It's almost like buying a house. You got to have an agent, an expert.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot. And also the TRICARE. One of my patients asked me if they should get Medigap or stick with TRICARE. I said, well, basically TRICARE is Medigap for ex-military and their families who are on Medicare. So I think it's important for people to understand that their TRICARE is a good plan. Now, does it cover everything? No, but none of these plans really do. They all have some benefits that others don't. And of course, the more comprehensive, the more expensive.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's what I'm finding out right now. I'm looking for a plan that kind of include. I would like to go to a Medigap, but I think I'm going to have to go to an Advantage plan just because they have better hearing programs and they have better dental programs. It's two things that I need right now. I can't plan on the future so much as I have to take care of what's bothering me now.
Well, I think that we're with WellMed, so you could probably sign up with them, but I'll have, or you can call Beth on Monday and ask her which one of the Advantage plans we're on that you can become a part of that plan. I think it's WellMed.
Okay, I'll do that because right now the plan I got Pat who does the sports zone here is also a salesman, and he's wanting me to sign up. He's also a sales guy for a insurance company I've never heard of before, but he wants me to sign up with him, and with him I lose you. So I'm looking around.
Yeah, and you can have a Medicare Advantage program. We do have some Medicare Advantage patients, but not a lot. And that would be a good way to go, would be to check out the WellMed. I'm pretty sure it's WellMed or WellCare, but Beth will tell you on Monday, and she'll tell you how to get in touch with them and do all of that.
Yeah, because I don't want to lose you, but got to take care of some of my problems.
Yeah, and anyone else who's listening now, the radio is not live, not hot yet, but we're certainly streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. You can call the office at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411, and check with the front office folks. I think Beth would be the best person. She knows more about the insurance than anybody except my wife.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about that and pick it up where we left off last week then. And I hear there's a new strain of COVID out there. Is that true?
Yeah, I heard that. I haven't really done a lot of research on it. As you know, I'm getting kind of burnt out on, I'm sick of COVID.
Well, they come along so often now, it's almost routine.
Yeah, and they're going to evolve and change their genetic makeup. That's just an inevitability, because now that we've created this living organism, or this semi-living organism, it wants to survive.
So it's adapting, just like we do.
It's adapting. And viruses are not really living in the sense that they can carry on cellular function and reproduce, but they're pro-life. So once they attach themselves to a cell and inject their genetic material, then they can become replicative. They can make more babies, and then when it completely destroys the cell will blow up and release all of these viral particles.
I heard the original COVID-19 is nowhere to be found anymore. It's like gone.
The alpha.
Yeah, the first one we had, the one that killed everybody.
Well, it didn't kill everybody, damn it. It only got a million Americans, if that, because if you went in with a gunshot wound to your head and you were COVID positive, then it was a COVID death. So
that's true. They did a little fudging there, didn't they?
Well, and I understand, because the epidemiologists, they wanted to really track and see, and they wanted to have a lot of data so that in retrospect, the researchers could go back and comb through this and try to determine exactly what part COVID played in the death of somebody who had a bad heart or bad lungs. I think a lot of what we're seeing now is it's not the virus per se, but it's the autoimmune reaction, the inflammatory reaction that occurs, and the clotting reaction, like I had with my ischemic small intestine. So we know that there are side effects to this, and that it's stimulating the immune system and the blood clotting system in ways that were known but rare with other viruses. If you understand, if you get my gist.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit too, I think, because it's always a subject. And what else is going on? Oh, Israelis are attacking again. I guess we should hit on that.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. And, I told you, maybe I didn't tell you, that during the show last week, I had a phone call. I'm not sure if it was on Facebook or YouTube or what, but it came across, and I didn't answer it, of course. It was from some Muslim guy, so I'm sure that I'm in trouble. They're probably going to put a fatwa on me. And you know what that is?
No, what is that?
That means they're coming to kill you.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want that, Doc. So you might want to report that to St. Pete Police.
Well, I don't know what he might have just wanted to say. I don't agree with you, and
well, we're not going to wait and find out.
Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll call back this week, and
maybe he'll be outside when you leave.
Well, he'd have to get through a locked gate. And then I know when he's coming to the front door, because I put in a Ring doorbell with a camera.
Well, they're doing it for all of us. They'll find a way.
Yeah,
They want
well,
to get them virgins.
I'm armed. So what are they going to do? I mean, they better be a good
Oh,
shot.
he was probably just calling to agree with you.
Maybe. You never know.
It's possible, sure.
And he might have been calling to say, well, I don't think you really have read the Quran properly. But my friend Hadi Haki, who is a Kurd and a Muslim, he and I have had discussions. And, I've said, what are you talking about? Islam is not the religion of peace. He said, yes, it is. I said, Hadi, have you read the Quran? He said, no, but my brother has.
Okay, well.
I said, well, talk to your brother about it. Of course, he never said anything after that because it's not. I mean, it's a religion that was basically started by violence. If you didn't convert, you got your head chopped off or you became a slave. So given those choices, what would you do? Especially if you're
Well, 80% of this country, the latest poll, supporting Israel. So that's good news.
Yeah, and I think it's going to go up even more. I think that the kids are going to, because they're young and they're impressionable, and they want to take an anti-government stance and they want to feel sorry for the downtrodden, which is what they should do when they're young. They should have a good heart, that gets toughened up as you age. And I think that will change as they see the reality of the situation. But
it's the denying of the Holocaust and things like that really bother me.
Yeah. And I saw one shot in from the Israeli military in the hospital or a mosque or somewhere, and they had dug up all these weapons. And the commentator said, we have not verified this, but this is what they're saying. So I guess we have to let the press in there to verify it. However, we have to let the right press in there, not the wrong press, not the left.
Exactly.
We have to get somebody who's objective in there.
All right, we're coming up to news here, Doc. See you after the weather. Again, I'm not sure the music is going to be working. If it's not, just hang in there and I'll cue you.
You're a skunk, you know that.
See you later.
Ellie of the Prosperity Group, and you realize the government is kicking the can down the road. If you want to learn how to create a pension-like income or create an inflation-friendly increasing income, then you need to give us a call. And let us show you a tax-free strategy that could leave a legacy or create tax-free income for you. If you want to learn about these strategies, call us at 1-800-440-0434. And we'll meet with you in Sarasota, Bradenton. So glad to talk to you.
Tampa Bay's only conservative station, AM 860, The Answer, WGUL. You need to download the Answer Tampa app or listen online at theanswertampa.com. Tune in at Odyssey. Here's the latest from the Answer News Center.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. The Republican National Committee is sidestepping Donald Trump's legal issues when it comes to next July's nominating convention.
The RNC's rules for next year's convention in Milwaukee have been released, but the party leaves a major question unaddressed. With Trump under 4 criminal indictments, the rules don't include any provisions if the party's presumptive nominee is convicted of a felony. It's unclear if GOP delegates could vote for a different candidate under such a scenario. Trump's first trial is scheduled to begin in Washington in early March on charges that he unlawfully sought to overturn the 2020 election. Greg Clugston, Milwaukee.
Israel's military ordering more areas in and around Gaza's second largest city, Khan Yunis, to evacuate as it shifts its offensive to the southern half of the territory. This is SRN News. As details of the Hamas attack on Israel continue to come out, Carol Platt-Liebau wonders where the feminists are. Their voices were loud when Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh was accused of sexual misdeeds.
Women's experiences matter, they insisted. Oh my, times have changed. Reports coming out of Israel about the October 7th attacks are shocking. Systematic sexual violence was inflicted on women and even children, much so horrifying and graphic that it can't be repeated here. Yet feminists remain silent, and their silence speaks volumes.
Liebau, who heads the Yankee Institute for Public Policy, says,
It's the same lesson we learned when professional feminists turned on Monica Lewinsky during the Clinton impeachment. Their feminism has nothing to do with the well-being of actual women. It's all about grasping and holding power for left-wing causes.
She made her comments for Town Hall. This is SRN News.
Hey, it's Tim Cooper with Health Plan Network. The open enrollment for the 2024 Affordable Care Act Marketplace plans is ongoing now. The new plans have even higher deductibles and even higher monthly premiums. Folks, there is another option. My Freedom of Choice plan puts most of your coverage right up front, where you only meet a deductible if you go into a hospital. You can pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there's no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call me, Tim Cooper, at 813-212-2580, 813-212-2580, or go to healthplannetwork.net. That's healthplannetwork.net, and we can custom design a plan that's managed by you, not the government.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour, only on AM 860, The Answer.
A dense fog advisory is in effect till 9 a.m. this morning. Mostly cloudy and humid today, high 81. Cloudy tonight, low 71. And mostly cloudy tomorrow, high on Monday, 78. Less humid Tuesday, cloudy in the morning, then sun through high clouds with a high of 71. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Holly Holdren for AM 860, The Answer.
Yo, Doc.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD. We're riding the airwaves and the internet waves into your ears and your eyes. And Ken and I are doing a show here, buddies and budettes. Word?
Buddies and budettes? Well, sure. Why not?
Why not? Any rate.
It should be dudes and dudettes.
Dudes and dudettes.
Yeah.
And guys and dolls. Remember that?
I love that show.
Yeah. Of course, if you say that now, then you're going to get smacked.
I love the music. How's that?
Yeah, the music's great.
It is.
So we have to address women as they want to be addressed. So, but we always have to check, because if I say you're doing a woman's job to some of the female doctors, they're offended. What do you want me to say? You're doing a man's job? I mean, I'm trying to be.
You're just doing a job. You're doing a job.
You're doing a great job.
That's right.
For God's sake.
Give them a star. Give them a cookie. Send them on their way.
Unbelievable, Ken. The world is unbelievable. People are so sensitive now. And one of the doctors was complaining to me about that. One of the female OBGYNs said her kids are just so restricted and feel so sensitive about everything they say and do around their friends and in society. But that's the way it is. We go through these phases in societies, and we'll get through it.
Oh, sure, absolutely. We'll get to the point where we'll put in, some crazy constitutional amendments, and then we'll have the crime come up like we did in the 30s with the prohibition. Then it goes back. It's always swinging back and forth.
Yeah, we hope. We may not be alive to see it, but
probably not. Yeah,
it'll happen. These things go in waves. So at any rate, I didn't really say everything I wanted to say about Medicare last week, so I wanted to take a minute or two to finish up on that. And we were talking specifically about Medigap, which is the coverage that you get in place of the Advantage plan. So if you keep traditional A and B and you want D, you can buy a Medigap secondary insurance plan, and that will cover, depending on the plan you get, it'll cover medications, it can cover eyes and hearing and dental, and there's a whole bunch of supplemental plans that you can pick from. I think they're A through H, although not all of them are available if you're just signing up now. However, if you go to the website called medicare.gov and look for Medigap supplemental insurance plans, you should be able to find it there. And there's a really nice search engine there. You put in your age and your sex, whether or not you're a smoker, and click update. And then you've got a ton of plans. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I think there's an H too. It goes to K now. L, M.
Hey, really? I didn't know that.
N. Oh, so it goes to N. So now we've got
N
from A to N plans, and you can look at what they offer and what their cost is and what your deductible will be. And of course, there's different levels, and the more you pay, the more you get. Now, the other aspect of this that I didn't really hit on that I wanted to, and I don't know, we got busy talking about something else, is that if you are looking for a Medigap plan, you might want to consider using an insurance agent. Now, use an insurance agent that's not affiliated with Humana or one of these other HMO Advantage plan programs, so that they don't talk you into getting an Advantage plan, which is the C, and then you're locked into a closed panel, and you're much more restricted in what you can and cannot do and can and cannot get. So do that and make sure that it's an independent insurance agent who will go out and research and knows their way around these, A to N plans. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot.
It's incredibly confusing.
It's confusing. It's very confusing, and especially if you've never had to do this on your own. If you've been an employee of a company and you've had insurance picked for you by your employer, well, then you don't even know until you go to use it what benefits you do and don't have.
That's true.
So
we haven't even talked about the pharmaceutical.
Yeah, and the pharmaceutical is the Part D, and that does come with most of the Medigap plans. So you look at that, and you'll see that you get drug coverage with that. So
a lot to consider.
I think the best thing is if you're really savant and able to look through all of this and figure it out, then go to the website. That's Medicare.gov, Medigap supplemental insurance plans. And you can get that little page pulled up, put in your information, and start scrolling down and see what you want. Then when you find the plan that you want, then you can either directly buy it or you can go through an insurance agent. I don't know if you can even directly buy it, Ken.
Neither do I. I don't know either.
Yeah, you might have to go through an insurance agent. That's my wife's area. She does all that.
You know, they always give you on the TV, it's always a phone number you have to call. What does zip code have to do with it? They're always saying if you live in a zip code, you'll have this. But if you live in another zip code right next door, practically, you get something different.
Well, it depends on the cost of the plans in your area and what they have to pay. So, like if you're up in Pasco County, it may be cheaper to go to the doctor and go to the hospital up there than it is down here in St. Pete, Tampa area. So it just depends. And you also have to remember that the doctors in New York are going to get a little bit more because their cost of living is higher. So you're going to pay a little bit more. And it's scaled depending upon a number of factors, including location, how sick the population is. So like in St. Pete, we have one of the oldest populations per capita in the world. And so we're going to have a much higher Medicare bill here in St. Pete. And by the way, that's why a lot of doctors want to come to St. Pete, besides the weather and the beaches and the sports and the theater and all that, is because there's such a high number of Medicare patients here that it's fertile ground. I think it's getting saturated in some ways, but a lot of the people that join these Advantage plans, they quit them and come to me or some other doctor and say, you know what, I'm seeing a nurse practitioner and I'm not getting the answers I want. And when I ask for this, I can't go get it. And if I want to go out of the plan, I have to pay extra for a consultant that I want to see. And so there are some drawbacks to, and there's also some benefits to an Advantage plan, a C plan, in that you're going to pay less and get a little bit more. And you also have the assurance that you're in a network already. You don't have to go find a doctor, but you do have to look through the book and decide which one you want to go to that's on the panel. Now, if you're not that sick, Ken, and you need the other benefits, like you were talking about, you need the hearing and the eye and the dental.
Right.
You may want to consider that. But if you were sick, if you have major health problems, heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, then you're going to end up paying more if you go in the hospital, because these programs, a lot of them cut you off once you hit about 7 or 8 grand of hospital bills.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right,
then
lot,
you have to
lot
start
to think
paying,
about.
yeah, so then you have to start paying more deductible.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy situation to wade through, but with help you can do it. And the government has a nice website, which is very helpful. And of course, there's insurance agents who get a little nickel or dime for helping you sort your way through all of this. So take a good look at this and do your best.
That's what I was doing most of yesterday again, looking at Medicare stuff.
So if you look behind me, Ken, that's
what is that?
That's the cardiac action potential of a heart muscle cell.
If you say so. Okay.
I say so. So let me quickly explain it. So this is baseline here. Now, what happens is that the sodium channel opens up. The cell has got a negative charge to it inside, believe it or not. Those little cells, they get down to about minus 60 or 70 millivolts, or real small amount. I forget the exact number. And so what happens is when they're stimulated, then they become positive, and they do that by shifting sodium and potassium and calcium back and forth. And so there's different segments of the cardiac depolarization cycle, which then allows the cell to contract, and you get the muscular action. You know what I'm saying?
So this is all happening in one beat?
This is all happening in a millisecond, a few milliseconds. So they're all doing it together, but since they're at different levels and they're stimulated at different times, you get the let me get out of the way here and see if I can show you. This is the EKG here. And so the P wave is this little hump here, and that's the electrical discharge of the top 2 chambers of the heart. And this is the QRS, which is the electrical discharge of the bottom 2 chambers of the heart. And as you can see, this is a much wider, in terms of timing, it's much wider than the P wave is. So that's because the ventricles are bigger, and as the electrical impulse propagates through the ventricle, it doesn't hit every cell at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
I see. There's a slight time difference.
There's a time difference. Now, this is just one cell, and this is the aggregation of all the cells in the ventricles discharging. Then, of course, after you have the electrical, the mechanical aspect of it follows. So then the atria squeeze and push blood down to the ventricle, and then here the ventricle squeezes and pushes it out to your body through the aorta. And then this is the repolarization part here, and you can see the plateau, and then it starts to turn itself negative again, the cells. So that's the repolarization. So it's a repolarization, depolarization. Of course, the electrons don't flow as fast as they do down a copper wire, but they're still going pretty good. They're doing a good clip. You know, you're talking milliseconds, hundreds of a second, or thousandths of a second, rather.
They're doing it thousands of times a day, you know?
Oh, heartbeats unbelievably. And a little known fact is that for all mammals, you get an X number of heartbeats, and then that's it. So if you don't die of cancer or something else, and you live to the full capacity of your heart's chronologic and numerical heartbeats, then that's it, dude. And that's
no more. It's all she wrote, huh?
No more. That's it. And that's why hummingbirds, by the way, hummingbirds have such a short lifespan, because they have a heartbeat of 400 to 500 a minute.
Wow.
So poor little things.
Yeah. They're fun to watch, though.
Yes, they are. Now, the reason I'm talking about this today is because one of my patients, he came in, he wasn't happy with the cardiologist he was seeing. He had been on sotalol, which is a drug we use to control and keep people in sinus rhythm when they have atrial fibrillation, pretty commonly used, more in Canada than the United States. And his heart rate was so slow because it has a lot of beta blocker activity. Beta blocker is the drug class that slows down your heart rate and has a reflex action of dropping your blood pressure. So that's like Inderol, propranolol, metoprolol, carvedilol. There's several of them, and we do use them for some rate control. but they don't really change your rhythm per se. So they can be synergistic with other drugs. So at any rate, he said, look, doc, I can't take this Sotalol. I'm just feel fatigued all the time. My heart rate's in the 50s. What can we do? I said, well, we can switch you over to propafenone. Propafenone, it had originally been classified with the category 1 drugs, the old Vaughan Williams categorization 1C, and the 2 other drugs in that category had been shown years ago to cause an increase in deaths from rhythm disturbances in patients who had had structural heart disease, like a heart attack. So unfortunately, propafenone got a bad rep, and they even have a black box warning in the literature and in the little flyer you get when you pick up your drug, saying that this has a potential for sudden cardiac death. It does not, and I have been arguing this for 2 or 3 decades now, and I've been criticized, and I've even had electrophysiologists in town change my patients off of propafenone and put them on something else because they believed that propafenone had this ability to put you into this horrible heart rhythm. But now the latest study, and this is from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology in March of this year, the safety of propafenone versus amiodarone, which is a very safe drug in structural heart disease and coronary artery disease and heart failure, it's actually better than amiodarone. And, I've been saying this, and they've been criticizing me and saying, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what? I really do try to do my research before I do something. And if I don't do exactly what the FDA recommends or what the insert in the package says, it's not because I'm being iconoclastic or adverse or trying to make a statement or say tweak your nose and you're not right. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the literature. I'm studying the actions of these drugs. I'm talking with doctors who have a lot of knowledge about this, or physiologists or electrophysiologists. And one of my buddies who is an electrophysiologist, he and I both agree that this has some cardioprotective aspects to it, that the propafenone not only has the some of the category 1, but it's also been reclassified into a newer category. We used to only have 4 categories. Now we're up to, 6, I think. And it actually has some beta blocker effect. So that we have used after heart attacks, low-dose beta blockers in patients who have had heart attacks and have structural heart disease to keep them from having rhythm disturbances and sudden cardiac death. So I'm not saying I'm a genius. I'm not saying I know more than the electrophysiologists who can criticize me, but damn it, I was right.
You know what I think the problem is, Doc? Here's the problem. Kids. These guys don't have any personal experience with the drug.
No,
all they know is what they've read. So you have been doing it for years. You can see your patients not dropping dead.
One of these guys has been in practice as long as I have.
Really?
Yeah, and he's an electrophysiologist. And I think that what happens is you hit a certain learning level, and then you say, "Oh, I know enough," and you get comfortable using medications. And you have preconceived notions about other medications, and then research comes along, and you're saying, well, my experience is that I haven't had problems with this drug, and I really haven't had much experience with that drug, so why don't I just stick with this one? Or I've had good experience with open hernia repairs and not with a closed hernia repair. And there is a difference. The open repair, you can put in mesh, and you get a better closure. Unless you're really adept at the closed, the robotic hernia repair, it's tough. It's really tough. It's just not as easy as you would think it is.
So you guys really got to stay on top of things, don't you?
Well, and you can't do it all. You really can't. That's why we have some specialties, and people say, why do I have to go to everybody different for every little thing? For ear, nose, and throat, I go to one guy. For my heart, another guy. For my family medicine, another guy or gal, as the case is nowadays, since the women are gradually taking over. My God, Ed, the women are taking over.
Oh, you know what? It's okay.
Let them have it.
That's right.
You know?
They think it's so easy. Fine.
Yeah. So at any rate, now we're coming back to the Ukraine, and Mike Johnson, our new Speaker of the House, he's all for giving Ukraine more aid, while there are a lot of people in the Republican Party who say, why are we giving money to Ukraine? Well, I'll tell you why we're giving money to Ukraine, Ken, because it's a democracy. You say, well, but they're so corrupt. You know what? You got to give people time to change, and it's not easy. And we can certainly work with them, and we can certainly help them, guide them through this. But they're not going to let us do that if we don't give them aid. You know what I'm saying?
You got to win the war, right?
And you got to win the people,
right?
And when they win the war, and they've done it with a lot of our aid, then they're going to say, oh, you know, the United States, they're good guys. And then we can go in and help them out. We can go in and teach them how to set up their judiciary so it's not as corrupt. We can teach them how to set up their elections. Well, I don't know about the election system. I'm not sure that
you're going to find some corrupt in every system somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, any rate, and then there's a group of, what's it called? I can't remember. Let's see. I had it up here. I'll get to it later. It's a rock group, a female rock group in Russia, and it's called like Pussy Protesters or Pussy Patrol or something like that. And of course, it's meant to have a sexual connotation to it, but they're anti-war, so they hate Putin. I think they're spending most of their time outside of the country too.
I think they do. Yes.
Yeah. And fascinating. There is a resistance to the war in Russia.
Not a very vocal one.
Well, yeah, you go to jail.
That's right. You don't show up on the streets carrying signs.
No, and if you want to stay out of the gulags, and they certainly still have prisons out in Siberia because there's not a whole lot else out there. I guess if you go to northern Siberia, you can get in the oil business and load up oil from their pipelines, from their drilling. But that's not a big, I mean, it's a big industry monetarily, but not a big industry in terms of the number of people that are employed. You know what I'm saying? It's not
sure, it's Siberia. Who wants to go there?
Well, I mean, it's in every country, but it's not like healthcare where you have 5 people to take care, or 3 people to take care of one patient.
Yeah.
It's not a real labor intensive industry because it's so automated.
Hey, what do you think of the train tunnel incident in Russia?
You know, I didn't hear about that. Give me a thumbnail.
Apparently, the Ukrainian Secret Service guys made their way somehow, or knew somebody over there, where there's a train tunnel that serves China-Russia trade, and mostly arms. A lot of their arms are coming over that railway, and they blew up the tunnel.
Yahoo!
With a train in it. They think the bomb was on the train. They think that the bomb may have been on the train time to hit when they went through this long tunnel under a mountain, and they just destroyed it.
Do you think they had a little help from us?
Oh, you know. I don't know anything about that, Doc.
I deny all knowledge.
But I thought it was pretty cool. It's like 3,000 miles away from Ukraine.
Good for the Ukrainians.
Yeah, nicely done,
boys,
gentlemen.
You go.
Yeah.
And we should be assisting them in every way that we possibly can. This is an existential event for the near-term future of Europe, because the Russians want to take Europe. They've always wanted Europe. And of course, the Germans have always wanted Europe. And
French wanted Europe once.
Yeah, and then they discovered wine and pretty much ended that.
They make great pastries, so that's all that counts.
Oh, and the good food, and really nice people, but they're just a little, I don't know, emotionally a little taut, you know. But once you get to talk to them and know them, they're nice people. They'll interact with you.
Well, we were in France once, and I had a Frenchman step on my foot purposely. He went out of his way to step on my foot because he heard me speaking English, I think.
Well, you got big feet too, so
he was also dressed like a clown. So I'm thinking he maybe was not all there.
He may not have been. Did you
That's
hear about
right.
Did you
And
hear
I didn't
about-
feel like going to jail and rowing on a Thursday night. So
No, but there was a guy at the Eiffel Tower yesterday. I think he killed one person and injured two or three more. He had a knife and a hammer, psychiatric problems, and he was protesting the killing of Muslims in Afghanistan and in Palestine. But he had been in jail before for terrorist activities, and I don't know whatever those were at that time, but had some psychiatric problems, and I guess he just glommed onto this latest protest against the Israelis, but not a good look for the Eiffel Tower.
no, not at all.
No.
That's not going to bring any tourists over.
No. And it is a lightning rod. It is a magnet. I mean, you go there and you want to see the Eiffel Tower during the day and ordinary tourist season, you're going to stand in line for 2 or 3 hours. We went and looked and we said, no, we've been high up. We've been to the top of towers before, but it was cute, fun to see.
Well, we actually stood in the line and went up. It did take a long time. I remember that. The elevators are not very big. That's the problem. They only got like 2 of them.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get up there. But you did it, so you had fun.
Yeah, let's go. I've seen it. Yeah.
And then the Israelis, I saw a snippet on the news yesterday where the Israeli army had opened or found a cache of weapons, rockets, mortars, guns underneath a mosque or a school or a church, whatever. And the newsman said this has not been independently verified, but this is what the Israelis are reporting. So again, we have our Islamic friends doing things that are not nice. They're just not nice. You know? And by the way, Sweden is having a problem.
Sweden
now, because Sweden now has 10% Muslim population because they opened their arms. And one of the kids that I was talking to when we were in Stockholm said, "Oh, we welcome everybody." I said, "You better watch out what you wish for there, guy." And there's one town that's right across from Copenhagen, Denmark, across the straits there. You can take the bridge, and there's a bridge and a tunnel to get you over there. And the police have pulled out of the city, those parts of the city that are all Muslim, because they're getting attacked so much. And the Muslim population basically has its own set of rules, and it's run by different gangs, and they're getting in fights with each other. And now Sweden is the number 2 country in Europe, in non-Soviet or non-Russian Europe, in terms of the number of deaths by guns. So the number 1 is Albania, which is about 5 or 6 times everybody else. And guess what Albania is?
Mostly Muslim, I bet.
Yeah, you got it, buddy boy. And then following Sweden is Bosnia and Herzegovina, which guess what? They are predominantly
Muslim.
What can I say, Ken? This is not the
I'm seeing a pattern, Doc.
This is not the religion of peace.
No.
I think it's a religion of pieces, maybe, and they're going to chop you into pieces. But so Sweden's got a big problem there in terms of, and they've probably been able to contain it to the 1 or 2 or 3 areas, but still, this is not a good look for Sweden. This is not a good look. This is not a good look for the Scandinavian countries, because people tend to clump Norway, Sweden, and Finland and Denmark all together into one kind of ethnic group, which is not necessarily true. Maybe Denmark and Sweden and Norway are ethnically close, but Finland's got a mixture of Lapps, which were the nomadic Indian type people that had the reindeer and all that. And so they've got some of that blood in them. And so they've got a little more Oriental, or if you want to say Oriental or Asian blood, whatever is politically correct today.
Usually just described as the Scandinavian countries. They just lump them all together.
Yeah. And Norway doesn't have that problem. And I don't think Denmark has much of a problem either. When we were there, we didn't see many Muslims. A few, but not many. And guess what else? Germany's starting to pick up now. They've got a lot of Muslims that they've let into the country, but they're a much bigger country and probably have dispersed the population more widely. The Germans are...
Doesn't make them any safer.
Well, no, but it probably cuts down on the violent crime, and they're pretty low on the totem pole. But I also would guess that it's harder to get a gun into Germany. I don't know. Because
I know what it's not hard to do.
Give away a mug.
Give away a mug.
Let's give away a mug, guy.
In fact, we're going to give away 2 mugs.
Let's give 2.
2 Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs up for grabs right now. Phone number to call 877-969-8600. The first caller with the correct answer to this question will win. Now, the question always deals with something in the first half of the show. And today we were talking about Medicare when we came on. So tell me the website you need to go to get everything you need to know about Medicare.
Give them that number, Ken.
877-969-8600. And first one with the correct answer wins.
And by the way, you can always come see me. If you don't win a mug, we'll give you a couple of them free when you join the practice at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. I'm Dr. Bill, got Ken with me. We'll be right back.
News Center.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. Venezuelans are heading to the polls today to try and decide the future of a large swath of neighboring Guyana. The vote is their government's latest attempt to claim ownership of a territory it says was stolen when a north-south border was drawn more than a century ago. Guyana has characterized the referendum as a step toward annexation. Venezuelan voters will be asked 5 questions, including whether they support the establishment of a state in the disputed territory known as Essequibo. The president of the Philippines blaming what he calls foreign terrorists for a bomb blast that killed 4 people, wounded dozens of other Catholic worshippers in the south, and sparked a security alarm yesterday, including in the capital of Manila, where state forces were put on alert. A suspected bomb, which police say was made from a mortar round, went off in the late hours of last night. This is SRN News.
AM 860, The Answer. Listen on our website, theanswertampa.com, 93.7 FM, W229DJ Dunedin, by downloading the Answer Tampa app or on TuneIn or Odyssey.
Dr. Bill for Bay Area Medical, located at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Pete, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Full service clinic with x-ray, heart imaging, ultrasound, stress testing, and minor surgery. We provide quality health care in a warm and friendly atmosphere. We are multilingual, well-trained, and certified. Most American insurance and new patients accepted. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411.
Dr. Bill here. With social distancing and sheltering in place, telemedicine is here. Bay Area Medical Home of Can Care Clinic offers telemedicine for new and established patients. You can see me without an in-office visit. Schedule an appointment at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. When it's time for your appointment, type this web address into your cell phone or computer web browser, doxy.me/Bay Area Med. A cell phone works well and is all you really need. For computers, you need a web camera and speakers. We'll give you this address when you call for your appointment. We accept most insurances and travel insurances. Canadians and visitors, please call your travel insurance company for an authorization number prior to the visit. Copays and deductibles apply. Self-pay rates are available. Just ask. We accept credit cards, PayPal, and Stripe. 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411.
Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI my go-to imaging center. Self-pay rates are competitive and out-of-pocket cost a fraction of a hospital. Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandy. 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour. Only on AM 860, The Answer.
A dense fog advisory is in effect till 9 a.m. this morning. Mostly cloudy and humid today, high 81. Cloudy tonight, low 71. And mostly cloudy tomorrow.
Don't see it, Doc.
Monday, 78. Less humid Tuesday, cloudy in the morning, then sun through high clouds with a high of 71. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Holly Holdren for AM 860, The Answer.
And we're
Good.
back. This is Dr. Bill, your Radio MD. We're back for the second half of what I think is a really good show so far. I'm enjoying it. I don't know about you, Ken.
Oh, yeah, it's very informative.
So
we didn't get a winner, though.
Why not?
They didn't have the right answers.
Dang people. All right, I'm going to repeat it once more. Pay attention, damn it.
The question was, what website should you go to if you want to know more about Medicare? And the answer is?
Medicare.gov, Medigap, supplemental insurance plans. So if you go to Medicare.gov and
you'll find it, yeah.
You'll find it, Medigap, MEDIGAP.
And there's a search engine there. You can come up with all kinds of plans. So
yeah, there's a search engine there. And I think that
just lost you there, Doc.
I'm back now.
There you are. Okay.
I don't know. I must have bumped something, but we are with WellMed, and I'm pretty sure it's WellMed, but you can call the office at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411 if you want to get the Advantage plan and see us in the office. Of course, you'll have some restrictions that other people don't, but you'll still get good care, and we won't let you die if you don't pay your bill. Well, wait a minute.
What I like about Doc, he's a one-stop shop. Tell me everything you're certified in.
Oh my God. We got cardiology, internal medicine. We do minor surgery. We take off skin cancers. We sew up wounds. We got Canadians walking in with heart attacks, strokes. Oh my gosh. Rhythm disturbances, pneumonia.
Geriatric problems. You do it all.
Geriatric problems, and that geriatric sexual problems are the worst. They're hard to cure. Well, that's why we sell Viagra. We do. The wife's got the 50 milligram Viagra, and she gives a pretty good deal on it. You might be able to get it cheaper on the TV ad, but for convenience sake, you can get it from us, and it's reliable. I use it for my breathing, and we also use low dose Viagra for pulmonary hypertension.
I didn't know it had other uses.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 20 milligram sildenafil is the generic name for Viagra. We use that for high blood pressure in the lung fields. And we also use it to help people, old guys like me, pee, because it relaxes the sphincter and the urethra around the prostate gland. And so the insurance companies would rather have you use a Cialis, but if you're on it for pulmonary hypertension, then you get that added benefit.
Okay. I didn't know any of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, that's why you want this guy as your doctor. So make sure he's in your plan if you're changing plans.
And we've got ultrasound. We've got an X-ray machine. So if you want a little radiation, you can come in and lay down. We'll zap you.
On a cold winter morning, nothing like
on
a
a
little
cold
radiation.
winter morning, we'll cook you, baby. We'll cook you. And we've got a little bit of everything. It's unbelievable. So we can check your heart with the ultrasound, your carotid, your neck arteries, your leg arteries, your abdominal aorta. We can do a lot of different things. We're really very talented.
That's why I go to you. Like I said, you're a one-stop shop for somebody my age.
You're not that old, are you? How old are you?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Medicare, I'm going to be 65 on January 3rd.
Oh, my God. You're going to have to sign up soon, dude.
I'm sorry. What was that? You were going to get the coffee there. What'd you say?
You got to sign up.
I know. I did already. I'm waiting for my card.
Oh, okay. Remember now, folks, Medicare, you've got a 7-month window, the 3 months before your month of birth and the 3 months after. If you don't sign up within that time period, then you're going to get dinged. I think it's a 10%.
Yeah, it's a lifetime too. It's lifetime.
It's lifetime. And I said last week that the enrollment period ends on December 4th. It ends on December 7th. So you've got a few more days to get out there and get your plan before the open enrollment period closes.
if you want to switch plans or you want to select a new one, that's what you got to do.
There is one caveat there. If you were still working and you had on your company plan, you don't get dinged.
You don't get dinged
until you quit that plan. Yeah.
Now,
I just make that clear.
I just wanted to tell you real quickly about the Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Sea ship that's coming out now. It's going to be the largest cruise ship ever built. And I mean, it just dwarfs the Titanic. It's like 5 Titanics will fit inside this thing.
How many decks is it? Do you know?
I think it's 14 decks, 15 decks, and they've got 7 pools, 6 water slides, and dozens of restaurants.
That's the big thing on cruise now, is all these little restaurants. Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. And I mean, you can get lost in those places. We went on one of their large ships, and they had a park, an actual little central park that was outdoors.
Like Oasis of the Seas or something like that has it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oasis of the
It's like
Seas.
a little garden area, like a big garden area. Yeah.
Big garden area, and it's open to the sky. And then they had restaurants on either side of the park. So it was pretty interesting.
I think they found they lost too much money with those.
Did they?
Too many cabins got eaten up by the open space.
So they didn't like that, huh?
Yeah. So those boats weren't making a lot of money. So.
And did you hear this, that Iranian linked cyber attacks have threatened equipment used in U.S. water systems and factories? Did you hear about that?
No, I haven't heard this.
Yeah, so they've hacked into several.
They're hacking our water?
They're hacking our water. And it's a screen that pops up and says, "You've been hacked."
Doesn't stop the plant in any way.
Well, and what they say is every piece of equipment that's made in Israel that is being used is going to be targeted. So the Israelis, they make a lot of different equipment for everything all over the world, from MRI machines to computers to guns to water to software. For a little country, they're pretty inventive people. Unbelievable.
And so they're hacking these the pieces of equipment that they've made.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you bought one and you have one in your business, you could be in some trouble.
Yeah, because I'm sure the Iranians, they have spies in Israel, just like the Israelis have spies in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And they also break into each other's computers and computer programs. And see, that's the trouble. When you teach the Iranians these things, and they're smart people, then they'll use it against you because they want to control the world too.
Yeah, but that's never going to happen. So I don't know why they keep forcing themselves to believe it.
Not in our lifetime. So what I just saw little snippets of the DeSantis Newsom debate. I really was not even if you think Newsom's ideas are good, he was not very impressive on the stage. I mean, he didn't really look presidential. He kind of looked a little I don't know, a little shell-shocked to me. What did you think? Did you see it?
I did not. I fell asleep early that night. I get up very early in the morning. So
he was saying crazy things like California has a lower tax rate than Florida. Dude, we don't even have a state income tax. What are you talking about? We don't have a death tax.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Sounded like there was some high-class comedy there.
And I was really surprised at some of the things that he said, and I thought DeSantis looked pretty good on stage. If he only had a little bit more personality. I mean, he really needs to get some help from professional acting coaches to get him to project a personality that is lovable and likable. He
reminds me a bit like Carter in that way. Carter was very awkward in front of the camera. Very smart man, apparently, and had a lot of ideas that apparently a lot of people thought. But when you put him in front of a camera, he kind of froze up. He wasn't natural.
Well, now that you got me on to Carter, let me tell you this. He I don't know if he did it or his campaign people or somebody, that he let it out that he was a nuclear physicist. and he was not. He was a nuclear engineer. Big difference.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Huge. Nuclear physicists are involved in a lot of mathematics and subatomic sciences and those sorts of things. Whereas a nuclear engineer, they design the containment buildings and houses for nuclear plants that produce electricity. So what Carter ended up doing, and I don't know how much he actually did with the nuclear sub program, but apparently Hyman Rickover brought him into that branch of the service when he was in the Navy, and so basically he probably did paperwork, but I don't think he actually did any of the real. But I don't know for sure. But what they did is they designed the containment housing for the nuclear submarine reactors, and big difference.
From being a physicist, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Physicists make the bombs.
They make the bombs.
They design the bombs, yeah.
They design the bombs. So at any rate.
But he's just uncomfortable, DeSantis, and you can see it. He just does not feel comfortable in front of the camera. He's no Ronald Reagan, as they say.
No, he's not a great communicator. He's a great mind, and he's a great administrator, but he's not a great communicator. So
he went to Yale, went to Harvard. I mean, the guy's obviously very smart, but he just can't go through the camera lens for some reason.
Now, this is what I don't understand. Everybody's ballyhooing up Nikki Haley because she's coming up in the polls, but I can't find the poll numbers. Have you seen any?
No, I have not. Yeah, it's a good point. I've been looking for that as well.
And now the Republican National Committee is talking about, as we heard on the news, will Trump be able to run on the Republican ticket or be in the primary if he has a conviction for a felony? Well, what if it's under appeal? There's a lot of questions to go around. And if they do exclude him, will he do a third party candidacy?
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
I think he could still win it.
He could very well, yeah.
He could very well.
It'd be tough because everybody has to hear about it, know what to do, but it could be done. Sure.
Yeah, third parties generally don't win. That's always a tough row to hoe. I think probably the last time a third party candidate won, from what I can remember, is back when the Whigs were in power, or not in power, but in action back in the 1840s and 50s. I think they got a president, and I forget which one was a Whig. But so it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task.
Well, if anybody could do it, I think Trump could do it.
Yeah, he could do it.
He can convince his people to do that, and just have to educate them on how to do it.
That group that we were talking about, the musical group, their name is Pussy Riot.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
Right. I'm glad we came back to that.
Yeah, well, we had to get that out of the way. So the gang violence with the Muslims is spreading throughout Europe, and we're seeing more and more anti-Semitic activity, largely promulgated by and fed by and pumped up by Muslim groups, including one of our own congresswomen, right?
Yeah.
How do we counteract this, Ken? I mean, do we just keep talking and showing that our morals and values are different and better, or
yeah, lead by example? I guess that's the only thing you can really do.
Yeah, I really don't know, and I think that a lot of the excuses that Islam allows people to have, which is that it's God's will, are not necessarily what we believe in the West, because we believe in free will, and that predates any Judaism or Christianity. I mean, that goes back 10,000 years. Maybe the early Bronze Age, it was formalized by the Greeks. But I think there's a definite huge difference between the fundamentals of Islam and the fundamentals of Western philosophy and theology, ours being mainly Christianity and Judaism and their offshoots. But do we have free will? I mean, I think that's a legitimate question, because there are people who will say, well, you're limited in your choices, so is that really free will? Well, at least you have a choice.
Here you go. Yeah.
And if you make a mistake, you can't say, well, it was God's will. you have to take responsibility. Well, you used to. I don't know about lately. But we
Well,
have
you
to,
have more freedom here than anywhere else. So,
and part of that is because we believe in free will. We believe in the right of the individual to make decisions for themselves, whether they want to be a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim or whatever. And if they want to go to engineering school or mechanic school or be a doctor or be a secretary or whatever, you have those choices. Now, you may be limited by your inherited IQ and your other physical assets that you have. I mean, it'd be tough for me to play pro ball.
me too.
Yeah,
Yeah, those days are over for me as well. Yeah.
Even if I were younger, I couldn't do it because I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't big enough. Got a touch of asthma. What are you going to do? You got to change your whole genetics.
Sure, I wanted to be an Air Force pilot. That's what I really wanted to do, but I couldn't hear out of one ear. So there's no way I was going to be a fighter pilot.
No, they won't let you in.
No way. They said
No
I could be a
way, no
mechanic.
way.
I don't want to be a mechanic. I'll be a fighter pilot.
Yeah. Well,
I'll be Tom Cruise.
These are the realities of the situation here, my
So I
friend.
went into radio. You just got, but there's so many choices here. You'll find something else.
Yep.
Not like the old Soviet days when you were going to be a farmer, you are going to be a janitor, and so on and so forth.
Well, the other thing of it is that and I think this is a good point to make, is that even in the Oriental, Asian cultures, whatever you want to call them, like in Korea and China, you are pretty much pigeonholed into a certain type of job based upon how you score in school. Did you know that?
That I didn't know either. So you're graded throughout life.
You're great, and you start taking tests when you're a little kid, and you start getting pigeonholed as you hit junior high and high school, and there's just a real structured way that they deal with education. So my wife could have gone to medical school or law school, but at that time she didn't think that was an option for her, and so she went to nursing school. Her nephew, he couldn't have gotten into medical school or law school because he just didn't have the test scores. And so he said, well, what are my options? I said, you can become a geologist. And so that was his choice. And he went in, and I said, what are you going to do with it? He said, I'll probably be a surveyor. And he wasn't happy about it, but like I told him, I said, look, dude, it's a way to eat and pay for your rent. And then you can do what you want on the off hours. And there was a kid on the train when we were on the bullet train going out to the national park in China, and he was upset and he was about in tears because he had to work 2 provinces away from his family, and he didn't have a choice. Government said, you got to go there, or the school said, you got to go there. That's it. And he had been pigeonholed into the training that he was in based upon his scores. So it's in the United States, it's a lot easier if you make mistakes as a young person to come back and make it up later in life. You can redo your life, which is a big deal.
Sure, talk to my high school teachers. They'll tell you I wasn't going to amount to anything.
Yeah, and you can always come back and redo things, and you cannot go back into college once you're out in South Korea. Now, maybe it's changing, but when we were there last, if you got your degree in nursing, that's it.
You were a nurse. That was okay.
Now, you might be able to go back and take a master's in nursing if they have that now. I don't know if they had that. I don't think they had that when my wife was coming through. But if you want to go and be a doctor, no way. You can't. Whereas there are a lot of nurses in the United States who have become doctors.
Well, that's the problem with the communist systems and all authoritarian systems. They stifle creativity, and they don't see the innovation that comes with that. Whereas here, we promote it.
Yeah, and we have to keep doing it, and we have to take away all the barriers that the Democrats are throwing down to try to micromanage our lives and implement a socio-fascist state. Because it ruins the creativity and productivity of the people, and that's what makes us great.
It always has. That's right.
And it's any society. And even in Rome, the Romans, one of the reasons they were great is even if you were a slave and you did something good, you got your freedom. Did you know that?
The internet is half creativity.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it is. It's just creativity pretty much. And we do that better than anybody else in the world.
And I mean, we have the best microchips in the world. We have some of the best automobiles in the world, especially with Elon here. I mean, the electric industry in the United States is really heads and shoulders above everybody else in the world. And the Chinese, they're coming along with a lot of electric cars, but I don't think that they're at the level of the Teslas.
No, probably not. No. Not in performance or amenities, I would think.
Or distance. I think they're probably meant to be souped up golf carts for riding around town.
Doc, you got 2 minutes left.
We got 2 minutes. Where did the time go?
I don't know. It's another fascinating show.
It was fun too. I enjoyed it. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I didn't prepare until 4 this morning. I got up and started preparing. So maybe I should do that every day.
Just wing it. Yeah, we'll just wing it.
So at any rate, it's been a great show, and I've had fun talking about the different antiarrhythmics. And the takeaway lesson there is propafenone is safe in coronary artery disease and structural heart disease. And we've got a lot of other ones that we use, like amiodarone, which has gotten some bad raps. But if you get on that, and what I do with my patients on amiodarone is I decrease the dosage because it has such a long half-life. But we don't want to use it in people with lung disease. However, I've been on it now for several years, and I've got a touch of asthma, and it hadn't really affected me. So we are at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. We're in St. Petersburg, Florida, 6399 38th Avenue North. We're just east of 66th Street North. And you can also see me in a telemedicine visit, which the government's still paying for, believe it or not.
No kidding. You got 45 seconds, by the way, so no hurry.
So we got 45 seconds. So again, on the amiodarone, it's a really great drug, and it's used widely, especially in people who have depressed heart squeeze or ejection fractions, and I just love that drug. But you do have to be careful if you have pulmonary fibrosis or interstitial lung disease or some other lung problem, like asbestosis or something like that.
All right, Doc, we got about 15 seconds here, just enough time to say pretty much goodbye.
All right, I'll say pretty much goodbye.
Thanks, Doc.
Good being with you today, buddy. Love everybody.
For listening to Dr. Bill, your radio MD. Join Dr. Bill every Sunday morning at 9 for more insight, information, provocation, and fun. Dr. Bill Handelman practices in St. Petersburg, Florida at Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic, 6399 38th Avenue North. For your convenience, telemedicine appointments are available. Call his office today at 727-384-6411. That's 727-384-6411. Or visit his website at cancareclinic.com.